a white man. And I'm not a cotter. I have a husband at home. I don't bring my gayness up here to the township. I honestly don't. And I don't really know how someone of color would feel hearing that word. And Bart has apologized immensely. But the damage is done. The damage is absolutely done. So we're going to go ahead and call, in no direct order, by the way. Well, somebody here is a doctor. No, I'm kidding. I can't read the writing. Maddie Fry? Maddie Fry. Thank you so much. Sorry, I didn't think they taught you cursive anymore. I'm joking.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
Go right ahead and state your. Thank you. Go right ahead. You have the floor. Let me put you for the 5 minutes. I got it, bro. Oh.
Yeah.
Here we go. We'll get that later. Terry's wife's the cleaning lady, so she'll get those out of the trash. No, I'm kidding, Terry. He introduced the dispatch this week and said, "That's the cleaning lady," and I was like, and he's been in the doghouse ever since. Okay, you have the floor. 5 minutes. Thank you, Mr. P. Griggs. Legal.
Good evening. My name is Maddie Fry, and I'm a sophomore at Hayes Valley High School. I've lived in Scioto Township for 15 years, and while I am young, my voice still holds power in this community. When my mother, Jessie Frymeyer, informed me this weekend of what Bart Fannin said, I was mortified and angry. I was also upset to see that only adults were discussing this issue. So on Monday afternoon, before it had reached multiple news outlets, I took it upon myself to post the audio recording on my public Snapchat story. Incidents like these should not be swept under the rug, nor hidden from the younger generation. While I may have quickly been met with backlash from my peers, I'm not ashamed of what I did. People of all ages live inside a township, and therefore everyone should be made aware of the character of those who are representing us. When your wife Nicole ran for school board, she campaigned on the idea of bringing back American values to Hayes Valley. Well, standing up against discrimination is one of America's most important principles, and those who take pride in our country should continue to fight back against bigotry of any kind. Bart Fannin, I don't believe that you are sorry for what you said. You're embarrassed that you were caught. I'm sure that you are mortified for your family's reputation, as I'm not sure they will recover from this. Fannin, your words are an embarrassment to the over 27,000 people who live inside the township. Regardless of whether it was not off the cuff or you did not direct it towards anyone, what you did was truly deplorable. For the sake of respectful leadership, please resign from your position as Scioto Township trustee. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. So, thank you. Next will be Amber Mayle, M-A-Y-L-E, Mayle. Sorry if I said the last name wrong. I'm a tad bit emotional, so come on up. You look familiar.
Yes.
I know, I saw you outside. She was the one on the news. We're on the news now, I'm sorry, go ahead. 5 minutes, please. Go right ahead, you have the floor.
Thank you. I'm Amber Mayle. I have lived here in Scioto Township more than 20 years. I also grew up on a farm in Madison County. That's not the way I was taught to speak on a farm or anywhere else. I don't propose to speak for any of our black neighbors, but I can speak for myself in saying that I agree with Maddie. I don't believe you're sorry for what you said. You're sorry that you got caught. I believe in freedom of speech, but with freedom of speech in this country comes consequences of your speech. And that's what's happening now. I feel that you need to face the consequences and resign, because we here in Scioto Township don't need someone who is racist and who uses racial slurs in a public meeting that they know is being recorded to be our representative. So I respectfully call on you to resign, do the right thing and resign. Thank you.
Thank you. And the next person, if I could address her comment, I don't care if it's in a recorded meeting, you don't use that word.
Right.
Take that out of your vocabulary. It's 2023. Next is Andrea Bogner. And once you speak, if you would like to, I'm not demanding anyone to leave, but so other people can come in and we want to hear from everybody.
Okay.
So Miss Andrea, you have 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Go right ahead.
Mr. Fannin, you used a racial slur on record at a work meeting in a publicly held office. There is not a job in any industry or any town where you get to keep your job after such an egregious act. Your actions are clearly a breach of trust for the people of this township. I do not feel comfortable with you making decisions on my behalf. You are unfit to hold a leadership position. You need to resign, as that is what is in the best interest of this township. If you do not resign, it is my hope the township pursues legal action to remove you from your position. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Samantha Turner. You have the floor, ma'am.
Okay, thank
And
you,
record, yeah.
Board of Trustees. My name is Samantha Turner. I've been a resident of Commercial Point since 2012, when my husband and our sons built our home here. We chose to move here because we believed the community was one we would be proud to raise our family in. I come from a family of police officers, military, and first responders. I'm speaking here today to formally request on my family's behalf your resignation from your elected position, Bart Fannin. After your deplorable, demoralizing, and racist comment on November 17th, you proved you are not fit nor earning of this position. You speak about caring for the community as your rationale for doubling down. But I wonder, have you seen what your statement has done to this community? The hurt and demolition it has caused to the village you claim to love. You have proved that you are incapable of making the right decision for the betterment of this community by refusing to step down and accept the consequences for your actions. You've made many conflicting statements in your attempt to apologize. You've sounded flippant, dismissive, and insincere. You blamed your family and your upbringing, and you've yet to take accountability or show remorse. I'm sure there's many here of us tonight that can recall a time in our life when a family member who displayed this mentality. Previous generations have experienced in contrasting times and made different allowances. But the hate that has remained is not something current members of this community, as mothers and fathers of future generations, can allow to continue. I've had enough, and I will not stand for allowing hate to continue. And you, sir, are an example of the hate that has been allowed to continue. It has become clear that there are many residents of this village who have mindsets like you, based on the comments of support for you we have witnessed on social media. We do not need a leader who will incite, allow, or agree with hate speech. Instead, we need one who we can trust to work towards ending racism in our community. Actions have consequences, and as a leader, you should be an example of that. This was not a mistake. You and those who support you must recognize it for what it was, an act of hate. Acknowledgement of your wrongdoing starts with you, and consequences for your actions require that you resign immediately. Not only do I question your morals, but I now question your reasoning for refusing to resign, which makes me question your trustworthiness. You are responsible for the hate that has transpired in our community. You are responsible for uncovering what hate this community has for diversity. Your failure to do the right thing has now undermined any good you may have done for the community in the past, and is setting us up for a future divide and indignity. You need to stand up and resign as an act of solidarity for all members of this community, and that's what a good leader would do. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Brett Jenkins. Brett Jenkins. Real quick. Ready? 5 minutes. You have the floor, ma'am.
Thank you. Good evening, Commercial Point. I'm here not on behalf of any particular race or group, but as a fellow community member and neighbor. I, like much of our community, am deeply disturbed by the racist remark made during the recent trustee meeting by Bart Fannin. Such remarks perpetrate racism, contributing to the erosion of our town's inclusive culture. Public office holders should exemplify respect and fairness. We've lived here 6 years. My child goes to school with your children. I have heard it said many times over that this issue is impacting Mr. Fannin's family, which is incredibly sad and regrettable. I would like, however, to offer the perspective of a person of color, what the gravity of this perpetuating racist culture means to my own family. In the time that we've lived here, my own child, who is biracial, has experienced a number of racial microaggressions, blatant hostilities, and careless remarks by classmates, educators, and sometimes even friends. The handful of experiences that our family has had around this topic is minimal compared to some others, but it's still incredibly harmful and has far-reaching consequences. The message that it sends to a child to experience such things in his community with little to no recourse is that they are less than deserving of the same respect as any other child. During the incidents I'm referring to, the general themes were a minimization of the incident, being excused as small incidents, written off as an oversight, the offender sometimes saying sorry. While harm may not always be intentional, it's still harm. We are concerned about protecting the children, but which children? We are concerned about protecting the families, but which families? Any other answer than all is unacceptable.
Correct.
Barton Fannin holds a leadership position in our community and as such is responsible for representing the best interests of the entirety of the community. Tossing such a vulgar word around loosely in an official meeting and writing it off as something he grew up hearing is asinine. This is not the case of a slip-up. Racism is not an accident. Racism is not a mistake. Racism is a culture that has been intentionally bred into the very fabric of our country with great intention to dehumanize entire races of people, and is taking decades to eradicate. One small stride at a time. One racist remark at a time. As Mr. Fannin said himself, he grew up hearing it, it's taught at home. And now, is that what's being taught in his home? The fact that he doesn't even recognize his bias is a large part of the problem. Employing minorities doesn't make you not racist. And apologizing with a justification that that's how he grew up does not make him remorseful or understanding of the damage his carelessness has caused. Is he sorry he got caught on tape? Yes, I'm sure. But is he aware of the history and dehumanization behind that word and why it's inappropriate? Not so much. What it makes him is out of touch and unfit to hold a leadership position at this time. What we teach this community by giving Barton Fannin a pass without consequence or accountability is that it's okay to minimize the impact of racist mindsets in our community and perpetuate hateful and harmful behavior. Our children are listening and watching the adults to take cues on their own behavior. Allowing him to stay in this role says that we care more about one family than we do about all the families of our community. Whoever is promoting the narrative that people are coming for his family, I ask you, where were you when someone was coming for mine? Tell me how I tell my child that in Commercial Point, we protect some children but not others. With leadership comes great responsibility. I hold a range of leadership positions professionally, so I'm well aware of the weight that comes with the title. Promoting equality and understanding is paramount for fostering a harmonious environment. We are mere weeks away from 2024, and the excuse that you did not know better is not valid. So I ask for a man that claims to care deeply about his own town and wants what's best for it. Why, with all of his integrity, would he allow his community to fight so vehemently over his very own mistake without stepping up to make it right immediately? What kind of leader shirks responsibility for their actions? What is Mr. Fannin's reluctance to step down and assume responsibility for what he said? What is a leader without emotional intelligence? This could have all been over immediately and quietly, without this embarrassment to our town, with his prompt resignation and a heartfelt apology to his beloved community. Such actions would demonstrate a true commitment to rectifying the impact of his statements and promoting the well-being of our growing community.
Regina Miller. And you have 5 minutes, please.
Hello, my name is Regina Miller. I have lived in this area since my husband and I built a home here in 2015. We have 2 children, David, who is 12, and Ava, who is 17. My husband's the assistant women's wrestling coach at the high school, and they had a special event tonight, which I am missing to be here. My children are biracial, but even if they were not, I would still stand before you this evening. I am writing to express my deep concern and disappointment regarding Trustee Bart Fannin's use of a racial slur, and his wife Nicole, recently elected to the school board, shrugging it off and laughing. It feels very wrong that Mr. Fannin has a leadership role in government, or any leadership role for that matter. Leadership requires a commitment to fostering a safe and welcoming environment for everyone, and any tolerance of racial insensitivity sends a message that contradicts the values officials should be promoting. In light of this situation, it is in the best interest of the community for Bart to step down from his position effective immediately. Mr. Fannin's resignation from this position would not only demonstrate accountability, but also pave the way for the healing and rebuilding of trust within our community. Most of all, the ignorant language used by Bart makes me so sad for my children and others that look like them. I am angry that people like Bart still have these beliefs, and that he and his wife are in positions of power that impact my family. I wonder, Bart, when you've seen my son picking out pumpkins at your market, if you called him that awful word. I wonder also if when my daughter became the first female to win a sanctioned wrestling tournament in Ohio and proudly represented this district with her arm raised, what you said when you saw her picture on the newspaper and on social media. Bart states that he speaks this way because of how he was raised. Have you not been out of your parents' house? While upbringing can influence one's perspectives and behaviors, using racial slurs is universally considered unacceptable, particularly the word that you use. Do you know Peggy Crow, Bart? Peggy Fitch? You sat next to her in school. You guys had the same alphabetical names. Peggy Crow reached out to me. She graduated in the same class as you. I used her name with full permission. She's a nurse at the James and is working tonight. She reached out to me several days ago confirming what many already know about Bart. Peggy was a Fitch, Bart was a Fannin, so they were next to each other for everything they did in school. When I first told Peggy I was moving here and asked for her opinion about the district, she said she immediately thought of Bart and wondered if my kids would go to school with his children. She remembers vividly that Bart regularly used racial slurs as a young man. She has seen Bart
That's
twice.
not accountability. That's not accountability.
You're out of order. She's speaking. Thank you. Go ahead.
She has seen Bart twice since graduation, once at her 10-year reunion and once at her 20, and according to Peggy, you used the N-word both times in her presence. Bart's apology to whoever he needs to is not a true apology at all. What Bart so casually said implies he's very comfortable using that word. The word he uses carries a deep and painful history rooted in racism, slavery, and discrimination. Its use perpetuates a legacy of oppression and dehumanization. This word is not a slip-up or an oops. There is a gaping wound that needs to heal in this community, and Bart Fannin ripped that Band-Aid off. This conversation is long overdue. Racism is a pervasive issue in our country, our county, our state, and our nation, and when it's allowed to fester, infects the very fabric of our society. To heal, we must confront the harsh realities, promote understanding, and actively dismantle the structures and individuals who need to step down to sustain that ingrained problem. I trust that Mr. Fannin will make the right decision for the benefit of the residents of Scioto Township who entrusted and elected him. No matter how many generations before you spoke that way, your hate speech is no longer welcome here. I truly hope Mr. Fannin reflects on the gravity of this matter and makes a change in the way he speaks publicly and in your own home. His children don't deserve to be raised that way. And they need to see the repercussions of your actions. As a farmer, I'm certain you've heard the phrase, you reap what you sow. Hopefully, after tonight, you're done sowing words of hate and bigotry.
Thank you very much. Julie Gill. You have 5 minutes, ma'am. I didn't mean to hit a gavel, but I just want to make sure everyone is heard and on the record. So, go ahead.
Good evening, trustees Fannin, Maynard, and Wool. My name is Julie Gill, and as you know now, I live on West Ford Road. I tell you that I'm a professor of radiation science at the University of Cincinnati because it's important to know that my belief system is based on and grounded in fact, not emotion or untruths. In addressing this racial slur used by Trustee Fannin and the poor apology that followed, there are 3 deduced facts. Fact 1. By using the racial slur and being very comfortable in doing so indicates profound racism. Am I saying that Trustee Fannin is a racist? You bet I am. All of us learn at an early age that when something makes you uncomfortable, you cease to do it. Most of us touched only once the top of the stovetop, and we didn't do it again because it was painful. For Trustee Fannin to use the N-word with such ease and comfort signifies that he feels absolutely no pain when saying it. Thus, he is a racist. Fact 2. Because 2 of the basic tenets of emotional intelligence are taking an interest in others and being self-aware of your feelings and the feelings of others, it is keenly clear that Trustee Fannin is not emotionally intelligent. He's obviously not adept at reading people, and his view of people of color dictates that he has no interest in them. And even his statement this evening by saying, "if I offended anyone," indicates, again, a lack of emotional intelligence. That's exactly the word you used, was if. This leads me to fact 3. Because Trustee Fannin is a racist who is emotionally unintelligent, it is impossible for him to appreciate and value the unique gifts and talents that all of his constituents have. I and most individuals in this room have lost all confidence in his ability to make governing decisions with the best interest for all of his constituents in mind. Trustee Fannin, because of the facts that I have detailed above, I strongly urge you to resign from your position. The Ohio Revised Code stipulates that no township trustee shall willfully neglect, fail, or refuse to perform the duties of office. Your intolerance of those who are different from you deems your failure to perform your duties as township trustee, since you cannot speak or act on their behalf. Thus, your resignation is imperative, and I urge you to resign tonight. Thank you.
Troy Frash. You have 5 minutes. Go ahead.
Go ahead. All right. Well, Ralph, John, Bart, I know each one of you guys. We haven't been in this community but for this much time, and we came down here to serve this community. That's what we came down here for. We came down here for the church to be able to love on our neighbors and share Jesus with people. And it's one of those things where our mission down here slowly changed. We create a little box that people come to and talk, and now a little building where people gather and get to love on each other on a daily basis, and we see it, And Bart, my wife just embraced you, man. And she wraps her arms around you, even this afternoon.
She did. She did.
And brother, the cuts are so real, but we got 6 little children running around with brown skin running around here, and they know that people don't like them sometimes. We're willing to serve any single person that walks in our doors and love on them just the same. Because there's one race, it's the human race. That's it. That's it. Brother, like we told you, because we've spoke to you throughout this and stuff. My struggle is so with the inability of this township in the village to be able to police itself. Mm-hmm. Who's holding who accountable? Why is it taking so much time to stand up and say right is right and wrong is wrong? Mm-hmm. None of the people down there a council member and a board member have spoken out about anything to say that what you said that came out of your mouth was incorrect and wrong and condemned it. You know, it's crazy, like, I'm not in a political realm or anything like that. I literally pulled the level over an espresso machine all day for y'all.
Sorry.
I mean, it's the truth, right? It might seem so insignificant, but we get the love on each and every single one of you guys. And for nobody in this place to actually take accountability and police each other is just so concerning for me. I said it time and time again. I told the village council, I told, the mayor, out, speak up. I don't care what your lawyer says. Right is right and wrong is wrong. What's the least consequences that you're going to get for saying that a racist or bigoted remark is wrong and to set the standard correct? I wanted to come up here because after hearing the whole transcript and everything, I wanted to come up here and just say, hey, wipe the panel clean. I love John. I love Ralph. I love you too, Bart. You're a human being. You're made in God's image, just like my wife, just like my children and everybody else. Mate, like, you don't have to drag everybody through this no more. Like each and every single one of you guys, Ralph, you're a man. John, you're a man. Bart, you're a man. Just take accountability, accept the consequences made, and step down. Like, that's all you gotta do. I'll have more respect for you after this if you just remove yourself and keep dragging the wheels and keep dragging the wheels. And I also call for this whole village, this whole township to start policing itself and don't put up for this crap. Don't put up with it over at the men's club while they're getting drunk in front of the elementary school. Don't put up with that. I don't care if my business crumbles. We'll close the doors tomorrow. It's not a big deal. But we love people here. We want to serve here. It wasn't the smartest business decision on the planet to put a cafe in the middle of a small village. If you have any intelligence, it would tell you that. We put it here for a purpose. We're on mission. We're here to love you guys. And Bart, I hope that you just remove yourself and regain everybody's respect, mate. Honestly, I think that would be honestly the best decision that you can make. You don't have to have pride in this, and I understand that this goes much deeper than just the words that you said. And I think if you guys are all men in this community, you guys need to stand out and call out the people that need to step down. Whoever it may be, I wouldn't be afraid. Call them by name and tell them to remove themselves, and you step down as well. It just is what it is, but this whole community will better itself along the way.
I've heard you. Thank you, Mr. P.
Yep, appreciate that.
Thank you very much. Miss Amber Frash. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you.
So good to see you, by the way. Always look back. You have the floor, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So I didn't prepare anything,
That's completely fine.
but I would like to say, so I've had encounters with you and we've spoken over several days now. And it hurt me to the core, like cut me to the core when it came out, and I thought, word, really? And I've told you this, like I thought, well, when I come to your farmer's market, was it, oh, well, here's a little N-word girl coming with the kids. And that's how I felt. But God revealed to me that our interactions were completely genuine. And I told you that. I do forgive you for what you said. And unfortunately, you were the one that was caught on tape, and no one else was. I think it's unfortunate that we are still here, that my children go to school and things are said like, what are you? Do you speak Spanish? Are you black? I'm not allowed to date you or anyone like you because of the color of your skin. how dark are your kids gonna be? Like, these are just some from elementary school. I have kids in first grade all the way up to seventh grade. And these are the things that we hear, but they're just brushed under the rug because that's just the way it is in this little town. That's just the way it is. But if your kids were being drugged in the mud, is that just the way it is? Or are you gonna stand up and protect them and tell them that's not the way it is? At my dinner table, my kids see people, they see hearts. I say, oh, what did your friend look like at school today? Well, they had like a blue shirt on, and the last thing they see is the color of the skin.
Amen. Amen.
And they see it, but it's not the first thing that they point out.
Correct.
And so, I pray that these wounds begin to heal, and if your heart is in a manner to where it's a certain group of people that you have been taught, and a lot of people have been, to say, hey, they're not worthy, I pray that God continues and starts to mend that and heal that. Because everybody is worthy of love. I don't wish any ill on your family, anybody's family, your wife, your children. I never met them. I pray for them. I've been praying for them since this came out. And I will continue to do so, as I've told you. But we just want, you know, one of the things that was really disheartening, as my husband Troy said, was none of the leaders stepped up and said anything. My daughter goes to school, and if they say yacht, which I found out was a big bug, they get suspended for it. But the N-word or something of that matter, it's like, oh, no, we're not, leave it alone. We're brushing it under the rug. That's unacceptable. Just stand up and say, we will not tolerate this behavior. It is not right. Bottom line. So I would like to give you a hug if I can.
I don't know.
Because I do forgive you, but this has to stop. To everyone else who comments and didn't even reference the word today, but the holiday that it pertains to, shame on you too. Disregarded the word, but points to the holiday. I have never celebrated Juneteenth, and I'm Black, but that doesn't make it right.
Absolutely.
But I know 1863, 1865, 1776, I'm grateful for it all. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Jody? You have 5 minutes, go right ahead.
Okay, well, since Troy and Amber got me all emotional, and I'm not a speech writer either, but I do have notes. I do feel like, you know, I spent a lot of time in prayer and thought on whether or not I wanted my voice heard tonight, or if I wanted to be an ally in the crowd. And after careful consideration, I decided that I owed it to my child to have my voice heard. So I'm here, and I hate speaking in front of people. But I believe that we're all here tonight because we all experience an emotional response to the events of this past week, to the media coverage of our community, to the incident that initially had happened, but also the hateful conversations that followed. Our community's been divided. Personally, when I heard the video, my first reaction was immense anger. See, this past week, it triggered a trauma response in me. It took me back to the day that my beautiful daughter was born. And before she had been on this earth for even a day, my family was divided by hate and racism. Why? Because she had beautiful brown skin. To quote my mother's brother, she's a disgusting, vile N that makes me want to vomit. And her mother, thank God she's adopted and didn't disgrace her blood. So, Mr. Fannin, I'm not here on a witch hunt for you. I'm here to share that I have personally experienced this hate within my own family. Why? Because that's how they were raised. They were taught that they were superior because of their economic status and the color of their skin and what part of town they lived in Toledo. But why do I share the story with a room full of people that most of you are strangers? Some of you might not even like me because I'm fallible, and I didn't say very nice things this week. And if I spoke out of turn to anyone in this room, I'm sorry. But I share it because it's a very tangible example of how that upbringing and that thought process breaks families. It breaks communities. And my child is beautifully and wonderfully made, just like every other child in this township. And while I might be a transient, as some claimed, because I didn't grow up here, this is the only home my daughter knows. This is her home. She calls this home. And I want her to feel safe. And I want her to feel respected. I want her to feel equal. I want her to feel included.
She is.
But I want her to feel it. And I don't know your heart. I'm not here to tell you that your words aren't true. But when words like that are used in leadership, and then they're brought up to her at the bus stop this week, and relationships are salvaged, or severed, sorry, not salvaged, with neighbors, because we're on opposite sides of the discussion. It affects her little heart, her little 7-year-old heart. Her blood's the same color as mine and yours.
Sure is.
Hell, I'm adopted. She's the only one I really share blood with that I know. But I say all that to say, if my story and me being vulnerable helps bring humanity to the situation, and if it helps you connect to what that word means, then I'm willing to share it. I do, however, stand in solidarity in asking for you to resign as a leader. But as a man, as a neighbor, a father, a husband, I'm working on forgiving. Not my job to judge you. And if you're serious about being educated and becoming more sensitive, I would love for you to meet my daughter and see how wonderful she is.
For you to bring her.
And have you connected in a very human and tangible way to the hearts that were hurt this week. Yeah, and to the community, to my neighbors. Something else that I heard so much this week is how we have to stand together to preserve the traditional American family. But we have a responsibility, because what is the traditional American family? Throughout the word traditional, we are all American families.
Yep.
Single parent households.
Yep.
Dual parent households. Households of color. Biracial households. Grandparents raising grandchildren. Siblings raising siblings. Foster care. Adoption. Muslim homes. Christian homes. Atheist homes. Single professionals. We are all the American family, and we deserve better. And it starts with us. It doesn't end with what we're asking for tonight.
It's just the beginning.
It's the beginning, and it takes all of us. Yeah, I don't know what this even says anymore. I'm done.
Good job.
Darren, Darren,
He's out there.
May I shake your hand? And I mean that with my heart.
Darren,
It's me, the Troy Neighbors Cafe.
yes. We will give you now 5 minutes to speak in front of the public.
Bart, you don't know me. I'm a new resident. This is my introduction to this community.
Darren, is it?
Yes. Last name? Core. And I'm gonna keep it really short and sweet, but you said twice in a recording, I heard you say, I said something I shouldn't have said, but the truth is you felt something you shouldn't have felt. And you got caught.
No.
Yes, you did. And everybody here knows it, and that's why I'm so surprised that you're still sitting here. Like, the gall that you have to not resign. And now, you know, Brook City is called Kentucky. We have a reputation, and you've just really, really hurt our community. And you don't take any accountability for it. I don't believe your apology. And, you know, the mask has been lifted, and we know exactly who you are. And I don't trust you as a trustee. You can shake your head no, but it doesn't matter. The evidence is there.
He's speaking. Let the public speak, please.
Right there, you don't respect the community. You can't keep your mouth shut while people are talking, and you can't take accountability for what you did and who you are. That's all I have to say.
Thank you for your input. Okay, Jody. I'm gonna give you a hug.
I just need to go breathe.
That's
Okay.
completely fine.
I'll be back. I'm not leaving. I
You're
just have to
fine,
breathe.
you're fine. The next one on the list is Mark Miller.
That would be me.
Yes. You will have 5 minutes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Wolf. Thank you, Mr. Maynard. You know, Bart, and you can look at me while I talk to you.
I was just writing your name down.
Yeah. You know, I noticed in your apology that your attorney or somebody that you have.
No, there was no attorney. I have no attorney.
Okay.
Go ahead, sir. You and the public.
But you said, I said something that was not only disrespectful, but hurtful and acceptable. Correct.
Say that again.
You used language that was not only disrespectful, but extremely hurtful and unacceptable. You're darn right it's unacceptable. You know, and there's a saying, out of the abundance of the mouth speaketh. That is how you feel. That is who you are. Like Darren said, you have been unmasked. If you were truly apologetic, if you really felt for your community and your neighbors, you would be man enough to resign. But no, it's your ego. You want to stand here in front of these people, shake your head no. Baloney. You're a liar. You're a racist. You do not represent this. Don't shake your head. That's who you are. You need to resign. For this community to heal, you need to resign. I appreciate Mr. Wolf and Mr. Maynard calling for your resignation. You've got to go. If you want this community to heal, you have got to go. That is who you are. You are a racist. You are a bigot. You know, Darren mentioned about Grove City having, Grove Tucky. This area is growing. And small communities, people think bad things about them. You're reinforcing that. For all I know, you have hurt the housing values here because everybody thinks that it's a bunch of redneck hillbillies like you. So I'm gonna ask you right now, will you or will you not resign?
No, absolutely not.
So you're gonna let us vote your butt out of here. We will show up at every meeting. We will do everything you can because you are such a filthy, vile, foul human being. I'm done. I'm done with him. I cannot wait till you are not part of this community as a trustee. You will never have my vote, and I'm sure everybody here will never vote for you.
Or buy from his farm stand again.
Oh yeah, so your farm stand, your auction, your house, I will make sure I never go there, and I hope nobody else does. Let your family feel the pain. Maybe that's what it takes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Actually, not thank you. Thank you, Mr. Wolf. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you for exiting also, so anyone outside can come in. The chief will let them know, fire chief. Next one is Tanya. How have you been, by the way? Good, how are you? Good to see you. Absolutely. Tanya Featherstone.
Yes.
Yes, you'll have 5 minutes. Thank you so much for coming, by the way. You're an educator in the city, or in the township, and at Tays, and I value what you have to say, because you're there with the kids every day, you know. I'm not a parent, I haven't been on that Tays Valley parent page, only because I'm really a parent of schnauzers. So I said from the beginning, I can get on there, and it says you have to be a parent of a student. So go right ahead, you have the floor.
I appreciate it, thank
Absolutely.
you so much. And this is my community, I've been here for 20 years. Okay, I pay taxes here, and I did teach at Tays Valley, now I teach at Reynoldsburg, but I was the first black female teacher to teach at Tays Valley. I taught at Asheville Elementary, at Scioto Elementary, at West Middle School, and I'm very disheartened with what you said. Deeply, deeply disappointed, hurt. I expect more integrity from my leaders, okay? And it's unfortunate that in 2023, we're still dealing with this. It's ignorance. It really is ignorance. I hope you would agree that it's in ignorance and that there's a lot for you to learn, okay? There's a lot for all of us to learn, right? But this is my community. I've lived here, and it's unfortunate that I have to deal with racism. Race is a social construct. That's something to learn, okay? Race is a social construct. A social construct. Yeah.
Can you spell it, please? I just want to make sure he understands the word,
Construct,
the
C-O-N.
spelling of it. You're a teacher, so I
Yeah,
just want to make
C-O-N-S-T-R-U.
sure. If he's asking you a question, I want to make sure he can look it up later.
It's a social construct, look it up. We're all the same race, we're the human race, right? We're all the human race, and we all deserve to be respected. We all deserve to live here and be free. I'm tired of holding my tongue so that you feel comfortable. Please don't. Okay?
Amen.
I've done that for many years, but my children are involved too. My children went to school here. My son was the homecoming king at the high school. My daughter was on the show choir and brought many awards to Tays Valley. Okay, I've had good experiences there. Let me pull up my notes. I'm here. People like me are here. Okay, we've been here, and we're gonna stay here until we decide to go. And we have a right to be respected, to be talked about, and with dignity, right? We spend our money here too, right? And so I just wanted to, I thought it was my responsibility. I'm all about spreading love, okay? Sometimes spreading love is having the hard conversations. This is a hard conversation to have, but it's one that needs to be had, okay? Racism is deeply rooted in this community, in America, but in this community where I live. And so it's my responsibility to speak up and do my part to eradicate that. There's a lot of people who are loving and kind and see, I know some people say, well, I don't see color. I want you to see my color. I want you to see that.
100%
I want you to
agree.
see that. I want you to appreciate it. Everything that comes with who I am. Okay? And I want to be a part of this community. I want to feel like
You are
I
part of the
belong.
community.
You are right. I am a part of this community for 20 years. Okay? I was the first person. Our family was the first ones on our street before they started building up all of this. But might hurt my heart to see my community on the news for something like this. I know it's there. I know it's there. I've spoken to the superintendent and the principal about it before. I can't control what you think, how you feel, but I want you to know that I expect more from you. I expect you to control what you say in public. You're gonna do what you wanna do. You're gonna feel how you feel. I hope that you would change. I hope that you would become educated, but see me as part of the community because I'm here and people like me are here and the kids are here and they're the ones who are suffering. They get it at school. My son had to go through it at school. My daughter went through it at school. My nephew went through it. They all went through Case Valley. I have to have a different conversation with them about who they're around. Okay? About where they can feel safe. They should be able to feel safe anywhere. If they want to wear a hood, they should be able to wear a hood. All right? So, I appreciate the time. I hope that you have heard my words. They are coming from a pure heart. Okay? I would like to see some change. And I don't know, it's your decision whether you resign or not. That's something that you have to deal with in your heart. But I just wanted to make my voice heard. Okay? Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Sheila Martin. Have a nice evening, ma'am. Thank you very much.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Hey, Sheila.
Hi, everybody.
Hi. Do you have 5 minutes to speak? It's good to see you. Go ahead.
Thank you. I didn't come with a speech, but I wanted to come because I heard that there was a word that was spoken at the meeting. And me and my family, we've been in the Commercial Point area for 2 years now, and we lived in Orient for a little over 5. So I've come to love seeing the tractors take down the harvest. My kids love seeing and enjoy being able to tell their friends that they live in this little community that we call home. Like everyone else, I'm here because I am seen by the color of my skin. I am, black, darker complected, and I have a mixed race family with beautiful rainbow of kids. My son, who goes to the elementary school, has darker skin, and his dad is mixed race. And so he comes home often because kids don't really understand how he could be of mixed race with dark skin, right? So the fact that we have elected officials who are using words that are really derogatory and not embracing the life that we have to live in this community was a little bit upsetting. And I didn't know all the facts. I came here to gather the facts. And what I see from this community is concern, but under it all is love. People are crying here. That shows that they have a deep investment into the things that happen here. You yourself have been moved with emotion. So if nothing else, just recognize that there is a lot to learn. I'm in HR, and I heard them say that they're going to do some cultural competency type things. I believe that should be also extended to the school. I believe that we need to have more with the teachers. I, as a parent, I have to drop my child off for school, and I notice that there are some teachers that are more willing to help my kids versus others. I see the underlying things that happen, but I realize that with growth and with change, there needs to be education, acceptance, and there's a path for it. But the path for it has to come through acceptance, realization, and understanding. I came here because I am the person that would be associated with the word nigger. I am the person that you would say, who needs a Juneteenth? I need a Juneteenth. It was my ancestors that were in the slave fields in South Carolina and Alabama. My last name is Jackson. That is not my ancestral last name. That is a slave name that has been passed on generation and generation. I have accepted that. And I embrace it because I'm American. And I live here. I pay big taxes in this community. Big taxes. And so what I'm saying, Mr. Fannin, I actually am one of your supporters. And I came because I couldn't believe that this is what happened. I want to see better. You know what you should do, whether it's a resignation. But I offer you, and I say, you know, you need to, I agree with some people that sometimes when you say a word, you may not necessarily understand it, but you have to know, you know whether or not you have black people in your circle. You know whether or not you have those type of connections. What you said is hurtful, whether you realize it or not, and today is the day that you change and you move forward and try to embrace what we're saying, understand that it hurts, you know. And so, let's see, I just had a couple more notes. I think that's really it. I just really wanted to show you, I wanted to show up and say that I am here in this community. I care what happens, and, you know, please make the right decision and heal the community.
Thank you so much. Dan Green.
He's not from the township.
It doesn't matter. He's the public. He'll be able to be heard.
Yeah,
Go right ahead.
yeah, fine, thanks. When I first read this on Saturday, when the first count came out, I couldn't believe it. As a public official, it would say something like that. Now I say it would say it on a hot mic. Unbelievable. Now earlier you stated there was nothing you could do, is that correct?
Legal.
I think at the beginning of the meeting, it says there's nothing
Absolutely,
you
yeah,
can do.
because
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay.
The township doesn't have.
You're bound by the Ohio Revised Code, correct?
Absolutely,
Section
sir.
505, correct?
Absolutely.
It also states in there how to get rid of a trustee if they don't resign.
No,
Correct?
No, that's not correct.
I'm not a lawyer,
Yeah,
but he
you
is.
have,
That's not correct.
the two trustees remain trustees, petition a judge in
No.
Pickwick.
No, they can't.
How do you get rid of a trustee?
The only way to get rid of it, so first of all, townships are not like cities. Cities have a recall process where residents can circulate a petition and that recall goes on the ballot and residents vote on it. The only way to remove a trustee is under Ohio Revised Code, section 3.07, which is not Title V.
Now, is that
And
including, you're
it's-
talking about every
let me
public, what I
finish.
just
Let me
said,
finish.
every public
Hold on real
official?
quick, let him finish. You
Correct.
asked the question.
Correct. It's related to every public official, state, township trustees. A petition has to be circulated by the residents of Scioto Township, signed by 15% of the registered voters in the last gubernatorial election. They have to allege and meet certain statutory requirements contained in that section. And then that gets filed with the Pickaway County Court of Common Pleas. At that time, the judge would hold a hearing within 30 days, or whoever is being sought to be removed could request a jury trial. The judge then, or the jury, has to hear the evidence that trustee committed, and these are the statute words: misfeasance, malfeasance, gross neglect of duty of office. So those are the statutory standards. What I can tell you from my experience is a very high threshold to meet. And I certainly understand everybody's upset. You know, and I'm not representing the residents, but it's a very high standard, and the utterance of the word probably does not meet the statutory definition of grounds for removal. So, but the residents certainly have that right to do that petition and submit it to the Court of Common Pleas of Pickaway County. But the township trustees themselves, John and Ralph, did everything they could by asking him to resign. And they have no authority, they cannot vote to remove him. That's up to the residents to follow that process that I cited, or if Mr. Fannin thought it was appropriate, he could resign his position. So that's the legal component of where we're at.
Okay. My interpretation is just a little bit
Go ahead.
different than yours, that the two trustees can file, I'm not saying one way, the two trustees can petition, like what you said, to
They can't.
have it to the judge.
We can or
They
cannot?
cannot.
Okay, well, I'm
They
just
can't.
saying my interpretation.
Well, I have the law degree.
You know, 'cause
Yeah,
you always
and-
stated that you
yeah.
won't resign.
Correct.
Okay, so it's up to the residents whether they want to keep this individual in or not. So what you're stating is they have to recall
It's not a recall.
or
It's a petition.
petition for removal. So it's up to the residents to get a petition. How many signatures are required?
50%.
50%.
15% of
15%.
those registered voters in the
50% of
last
the
governor's race in the township.
I totally disagree with you.
Well, that's.
I understand,
Yeah,
everybody's got
we have
different
legal counsel to
opinions,
make sure everyone
But,
knows.
here's my thing, is my
It'd be a
belief.
no-brainer this evening if we had the authority.
Yeah, my belief, and I know one of the trustees asked him to resign, I don't know, according to the side of the post, whether that's true or not.
We both asked them to resign, this is the resolution.
And he
I
already
read.
stated, well, and of course, you have a guy that's making over $20,000 a year on your money, and health insurance on your money. He said it at this meeting, he's gonna say it again, everybody knows that, you say it once, you're gonna say it again. You know, when I was a kid, I played high school football, track, sports with African Americans. They used the word, I used the word, but I haven't said that word in 40 years, because I don't believe in it. But we're not talking about some 15-year-old kid, we're talking about a grown adult that's saying this in public at an open meeting on a hot mic. Now, the last question I got is, why are you taking the names of everybody that spoke up here? Not a hard question.
Or you don't have to answer that if you don't want to. It's fine.
Huh?
That's fine.
Public record anyway.
It's not tough. You've taken the names of everyone that spoke up here. Am I correct or incorrect? You're not gonna answer it. Hey, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time, sir. Thank you.
What was that ORC section you referenced?
3.07.
3.07. Thank you.
Katie Thomas. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
Hi, Mark. My name is Katie. Our children go to school together. I wasn't prepared to speak today, but felt like sometimes when you don't speak, that speaks volumes. So I've decided that I do have some things to say. When I told my friends that we were moving here to this community, my son, who's now 20, was going into the 3rd grade. It's changed since then, but even then he was one of a very few number of students of color in his class. My sons have 2 girls, one's 17 and one's 10. All 3 of my children have experienced racism in this community. Comments that have been made from students and from teachers. And I know that this isn't a place to talk necessarily about the schools, but we're here as a community, and our kids going to school with these issues that needs to be addressed. We're here, let's talk about it. I have talked to the school board, I have talked to the superintendent. I emailed everybody that I could possibly email after my son was called along with one other black student to get a black girl under control when she was acting out. Out of just 2 students, my boys were called to get her under control because they were the same color as her. No other reason. I'm not here to name call. I'm not here to point fingers and blame you personally for everything that my children have experienced. I'm not. But what you said did come off your lips very easily, which means you have said it before. And I'm not gonna say, and you may say it again. I'm not gonna say you will. Sometimes conversations like this do shift change, and I sincerely hope that it does in your heart. I do hope that. And I know that you said in your statement that you have learned more in these past few days than you have in 44 years. I'm hoping that our whole community does. This is an uncomfortable situation, and it has to be completely uncomfortable for you and your family. But our families have experienced uncomfortable conversations that were never had. Conversations that should have happened. When our children have been singled out and made to feel less than, these conversations should have happened. And I'm not saying that your family or you should be the only one under the microscope. I'm not. It's a community problem. But I do challenge you to consider why you refuse to step down. There's enough people in this community that are outraged by your comment. There will be a petition if you don't. And what is that gonna do?
Exactly.
We've started to divide. It's all over social media. People attacking people, relationships being torn apart, sides not being understood. You have the opportunity to take a blow to your ego, which has already happened. But you have an opportunity to stand with the people who have said words like you and may think like you have in the past or still do, and make a change for your community. I feel like that just would say so much more to your community than a simple refusal. And I don't understand your decision to refuse. I'm sure you have reasons. But I do urge you to consider what those reasons are and what the outcome will be on either side. Because you do have a very unique opportunity to bring people together and to meet with people like Jody's daughter and Amber. I know about the conversation you had with her, and it's important. Those are uncomfortable conversations that are just tough to have, but that's how change is made. So that's it from me.
Thank you very much. Unapologetically,
Rebecca.
Jill
got for me.
You will have 5.
Actually, no, I need it. Because I had no intention on speaking tonight, because I'm here as an ally, right? Because I don't know what it's like. I don't know the fear that word invokes. I know the anger, because I have people in this room, we might not be genetically connected, but they're my family. And you know what? I see people in this room that I don't know, and trust and believe they'd be my fucking my family. Pardon my language. This is why I need to write
It's your
stuff down.
5 minutes.
Okay. So this is my truth, sir. As somebody who pays hella taxes in this community, I rise tonight to demand your resignation. You've proven through your own words and your actions you are not capable of representing our community. Why? Because you don't respect our community. Furthermore, you've proven through your lack of culpability as you said, while my friend stood and talked about her children, and you shook your head and you laughed, and you wanted to have a stare down war with me, I'm not the one, son. I'm not. All right? I understand strong women, and you aren't gonna mix well. I'm not backing down to this. Everybody is entitled to have a voice. So, somebody else just asked you a question, and you refused to speak, and you looked at legal, right? But when somebody who is a little bit more docile asked you if you were gonna resign, you very ignorantly and adamantly said, absolutely not. So, sir, let me humble myself in front of you. Why won't you resign? Can you speak to that one? Can you answer that? I will actually defer my minutes for him to respond. Can you respond what purpose you serve by not resigning? You can't do it? To me, this is comical, because you were a badass when you were demeaning other men and women that you view lesser than you. So guess what? I'm getting great kicks off of watching you squirm. If you give two shits about this community, do us all a favor and step down, right? And I'm gonna watch my ass when I walk out of here, because I know how y'all think. I know how your kind think, right? You keep writing the names down, keep staring people down, making us all feel uncomfortable. We outnumber you. You might have people on social media coming anonymously to defend you. Everybody else put their name to it. We outnumber you. Don't forget that. I wish no harm to you, but I hope to God you feel, I hope this reverberates throughout you so you do learn a lesson. Because I'm going to tell you what, this is unacceptable. This is unacceptable. This is unacceptable. Yeah, I know you don't like me. It's good.
Look at him. That's unbelievable.
Say it now. Mom, say the word now, Bart.
This person does not need to be in public office.
It's
awful.
Wow. Say the
I
word
cannot
now, Bart.
believe
Look at
that
my
this
son.
person's in
Look at my son and say the word. My grandson. What about that? Come on, big boy. Let's say it. Say the word. You are sickening. Coward. Coward.
That
You
is-
have tons to say. Tons to say, and now you're simply.
Yeah.
You can't look at me. You cannot look at me. Why? Because of my son, my grandson? What's wrong with
What you
that?
have to say about my dad, huh?
Yeah. Come on.
In our family.
Come on. Say it.
You want to apologize to him publicly? Why don't you say what you said?
Speak up.
Oh, baby boy. You are
Yeah,
look at me, Ken, you're
Looking
scared.
at my shirt.
Little bitch.
It says everyone.
Hey, Barn, look at me.
Everyone.
Look at me. Look at me. You haven't been looking at me all night, you're scared. You want to say that word in front of everybody like these little friends know? Lucky I'll come in here and beat the shit out of you because that's what I fucking wanted to do. You
Okay,
lucky
guys.
I have anything.
If you want to speak,
Point
please
at me.
come up to the
Go ahead.
podium.
I don't give a fuck. I'll find out where you live, you stupid son of a bitch.
Let's go breathe. You wanna go breathe?
No, I don't want to fucking be. I don't want to look at him. This little bitch ass.
I'm gonna go
This
breathe.
little fucking glasses.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak at this time? I
Fucking
beg
coward.
you to please come up to the podium.
Bitch. You.
I
Bitch.
wasn't going to. My name's Steve Williams. But I feel like I should.
You.
I'm not going to put my personal lens on this because I can't. Being a white male, I can't.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I will never understand. But what I do understand is I am a leader. In my role in the community, I am a leader. Mr. Fannin, I know you. Mr. Wolf, I know you. I am asking you, please step down. If this community chooses to re-elect you at a later time when we see that you are rehabilitated, then let the community speak, because they're speaking right now. And Mr. Fannin, I know you. I've talked to you many times. I buy from your farm all the time. Sir, this is not acceptable as a leader. If I acted like this, and it wasn't hot mic, they knew it was recorded. You said it. You knew it was recorded, sir.
Absolutely.
It's not a hot mic.
We should retract it. We should rewind.
It's not.
We should rewind it.
So, and I'd like to share something too, that I don't know why it hasn't been brought to this attention. So I want to share something. This is from the recording. So this is at 59 minutes and 23 seconds.
Okay. Gotcha there. Okay. You have this in document form?
Just a second, please listen.
I can email it to you guys.
That needs out of there. It's a federal holiday.
We don't want to get our butts sued. I agree with you, Mark, 100%, but it's
I strongly encourage all of you to go back to that. For some reason, I've never heard that yet. All I hear is the N-word, which is atrocious.
So he said it twice?
No.
Wow.
Let me.
I'm sorry, I want to make sure on the
He
record.
acknowledged that he wanted it taken out of the minutes.
How did
He
this get
acknowledged
in
it.
there?
Oh,
He
yeah,
acknowledged
absolutely,
it,
yeah.
wanted it out of the minutes.
That needs out of there. It's a federal holiday.
I'm sorry, but we don't want to get our butts sued. I agree with you, Mark, 100%, but it's
I agree with you, Bart, 100% on what? Whose voice was that? Who agrees with Bart? There's more to this, okay? So what I'm saying, I'm going to be the one to say it all. I think everyone should resign. And I love you, Mr. Wolf.
Yes.
I think everyone should resign and let the community speak, because that's what you guys are. You are a representation of this community. All of you resign. Allow the community to speak and re-elect those that they choose, not me, that they choose. The mixed race families, the black families, the white, every race. That's what this is about. And shame on you as a leader, not as a person, as a leader. Because I'm not going to put my personal lens on this, I can't. Please, I ask that you all do the right thing. Step down and allow this community to heal and us to re-elect whom we choose at this time. Mr. Fannin, I wish you the best, sir. I hope that you get rehabilitated. I hope that maybe one day, because I've seen it already, some of these people in this community have already forgiven you. That takes a lot. And you know what, sir? I forgive you. But as a leader, please step down. Please step down, sir. Do what's right. That's all I'm asking. Do what's right for this community, and I ask all of you to step down. And that's hard for me to get up here and say, but I ask that all of you, and let us re-elect who we see fit now to lead this township. Thank you for all of your time and listening.
Is there anyone else? Any board comments?
I will, yeah.
Go right ahead, Mr. Maynard.
Couple things. I can assure you that was not my voice when it said take it out. That has nothing to do with the contract. It's been in the contract, the last contract, and this contract.
Was an addendum to the last?
No, it was not.
Oh my God.
It was part of the contract. When it comes to federal holiday, it was put into the contract. It's nothing new. It was when the firefighter representation from the bargaining unit brought it to the meeting because they updated the negotiations that we just agreed upon. That a holiday was listed in that article. It's nothing new. When you was reviewing that contract, you reached over and said, what is this? That's when I said, it's Juneteenth. It's a federal holiday. I said, it come into law, and we have 11 paid holidays. Columbus Day is still there. Some people took it out. We did not. They had 11 holidays. And then I started talking about where the holiday originated from. Ralph spoke up and said, Bart, it's the Emancipation Act, this and that. And the folks from the South did not know this and that. And I said, yes, when it got down to Texas. And then that's when they got notified, and that's the recognition of the date.
But who said I agree with you?
Yes. Can anyone speak on the 59 minutes?
I
and
will
23?
speak to who that is. That was Mr. Wolf.
And let me very much
Period.
clarify. Hold on.
I'm speaking.
Go ahead.
That was
I
Mr.
will
Wolf.
clarify that statement.
And can you answer, was that holiday that was spoken to? I know that
Yes.
it was, but okay, thank you.
Yes, it was.
Thank you. That's what I'm saying, and that's why I say, everyone, let this community revote.
I sat here and all. This room was full of Mr. Fannin, myself, Mr. Wolf, Mr. Brill, fiscal officer, Ron Jan, the zoning inspector, and the new elect trustee, one of our road employees, another gentleman from the public. It was the fire chief, Mr. Neil Klein, the assistant chief, Spencer Bennett, and firefighter, who's a captain. They all heard. They all heard. I did not giggle. I sat here in awe.
Yeah, John Maynard does not need to resign. I mean, this is his.
And I looked
He does not need to resign.
at my employees.
He's got 1 more month left, baby. I know, but I mean,
I
don't
looked at
wanna
my
wrap him up
employees.
in this.
And they was dumbfounded. We had a meeting. I went home that night. I talked to my employee. John, this can't happen. It cannot continue. Let me say that word again. It cannot continue. Meaning it has happened before. I went home and I took notes. And I started preparing my statement to file a complaint with the Civil Rights Commission. There's this thing called civil rights. I've been a real estate agent for almost 30 years. What you do is you take Canada of ethics, you take civil rights, you take law, you take these contingent for education. Because laws change, people change, times change. During that, we met on the 24th for the contracts, for the auction. During that meeting, I went on record and asked for Mr. Fannin's resignation immediately. It was offensive, it was racist, and it will not, cannot be tolerated. So, Mr. and Mrs. Thrash, I did speak up. And I made it a point to be on record, and I made sure Mr. Brill put it in the minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I did not wait.
Thank you for clarifying this.
I did not wait. I waited to get a copy of that tape. That day, on the 24th, there was already more than one public information request. That morning, when we left, it was known that somebody else was already here getting a copy of that tape. I made a public records request to Mr. Brill that morning, the 24th. Remember that date. The 25th, that tape, or portions of that tape, were released on Facebook and other social media platforms. I got mine at like 2:37 Monday, the 27th. That's when I got my record. It's unplayable, by the way, but I got it. I've asked now again for a CD of that record. That will be part of my files and my complaint. I did not wait. I did my due diligence to make sure I had that tape. Because like you, I did hear, yes, I agree.
Thank you, sir.
I heard it.
Thank you.
I heard the giggling. Maybe it was a nervous laugh. I don't know, and I won't judge them. Because it's very uncomfortable. But I know I did not laugh. I did not condone. I asked at the next meeting for his resignation, which he refused. That is part of the record. Now I'll get a little personal. During that meeting, I said it's more than me. Well, he apologized, and I accept his apology to me. But he did not apologize to the community at that time, I will if I need to, then I will. Like somebody said earlier, it's no damn if. There is no if.
Right.
I know I'm not perfect. We're all sin and fall short of the glory of God. I know that. And I've made many a mistake. Many. But during that meeting, when he said he apologized, and then he goes on to say, John, I did not know you had a black child. And it's like, no. I want to tell you something. I've been here since 97. I'm sorry. I moved to Asheville in 94 with my wife. When we got married, from the time we started dating, she had my son. He's biracial. We moved in to downtown Asheville. One of the only few black children at that time. We moved out here in 97. Built a house out on Gibson. Went to school Scioto. Still one of the few black children in the system. So I know what it was. But during that meeting, he said, I did not know you had a black child. He said, I don't know. Maybe you had an affair, or maybe you had a black mistress.
I did not say that.
Oh,
I
bullshit! Bullshit! It's on fucking recording! Bullshit!
There's nothing recorded from that meeting.
Oh, maybe not.
I never said that.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, you did.
Hey,
You did.
Yes, you did. I'm speaking. Then, and he said, maybe I didn't know you might have been married to a black woman before your current wife. Then he looked at Mr. Brill. Terry, did you know he had a black child or black son? Terry answered yes. My son is here. My grandson's here. My other son's here. It's not any news to anybody in this community, in this town, anywhere in Pickaway County. I coached in this town for 20-some plus years. I volunteer in this town, still do, always will. I have helped many families, many organizations, sponsor many things, not because of me, to make the community better. But to sit here and say, I did not know you had a black child, that is what I call narcissism.
Absolutely.
It's to cover your own faults or whatever. And Bart, you can deny you said it, but there is documents of it. So that's why I have a problem with this public apology and this the mockery that you've shown to these people, to this town, to myself, this board. You've done nothing but divide and try to destroy this community. There's been no actions to bring a healing. In order to heal, you have to accept. And again, I am not perfect. I want everybody to understand it. I am not perfect. I am not without fault. But I know wrong is wrong. And when I make a mistake, my kids will tell you, respect is earned, never given. They will tell you, doing what's right may not be easy, but it is right. Period. Like everybody else, I have lost a ton of sleep. The mental hardship is caused on me, my wife, my children. I know what it is. I know what it is going to a restaurant with my black son. First question, is this one check or two? Or be waiting? For the table. And they say, Mr. Maynard, your table's ready. And then look and my son and say, sir, we'll be right back with you. So I know how a lot of these people feel because I've lived it. My wife was from here. I was not from here. I moved here. And I want to make sure that this community heals, because that is not, and I'll repeat, that is not who this community is. It's not who this board is. And when it comes and pertains to this work, our policy procedures stipulate you will not discriminate on race, color, familiar status, sexual preference. It's in our book. And if it's violated, it's subject to disciplinary action up to removal. It's not what we want to do, it's what the book says. Why, as we as elected officials, are not held to that same standard? Because we wrote the book. We are the ones who enforce this book. Forget the book. Forget the fact that it's a violation of the civil rights, the discrimination. What about the employee that was sitting here who might or might not happen to have black and African American and biracial children in his family? Is that not a hostile work environment?
Yes.
Yes. Other employees. We have a full-time fire department and a part-time firefighters. Is that not hostile work environment for men when if they have biracial, ethnic, other minority children,
Or women.
or sexual preference, or women, exactly, which we do have? So it's more than John. It's more than apology to me. It has affected this community. It's not going to go away. You cannot heal, and you start putting an application of something that's going to make that wound heal. And that is a resignation of that effect and the person who caused that damage and continues to cause that damage for the lack of responsibility and accountability.
Yes.
Again, I am not perfect. But I know what? I'm out in December, sir. You don't have to worry about making a recall. I didn't get elected. And I have no harm to it. People said, well, you might do that. When I said that timeline earlier, somebody got on Facebook, and I know who she is because she put her name out there. And it's a family that doesn't care for our family, and that's fine. Who said, maybe the unreelected official is behind this. Maybe he's in on it. Maybe he's the leaker. I did not have the tape until the 27th. That leak come out on the 25th.
And you're not a coward. You wouldn't hide behind it.
I never have. I made 2 comments. Somebody asked about it. I said yes. I asked for his resignation on the 24th. He refused. That was my comment. Second comment, somebody said, what position does he hold? I said he's a trustee. Those are my only comments. So, again, I feel for this community. I know what it's like. I don't know what's like for everybody else. But I know I have a ground to speak on from past experience. And I know for a fact, you would have not said that to my wife, my children, my son, or any other son. You wouldn't do it. Because a narcissist doesn't do that, and cowards don't do that. And you made this, and I don't know how the township can move forward with the risk and liability of having a trustee in position, because the trustee word comes from trust. And how does an employee come to work, regardless if they're in the union or non-union? We have people that are at-will employees. That means they can be fired at any given time for any given reason by a vote of majority of the township trustees. How are they going to come to work and work in a hostile-free environment, knowing they can be judged under any category, male, female, sexual preference, race, color, religion, anything. It's a hostile work environment, it's a liability, and it's a lawsuit waiting to happen for this township. And I do stand by my decision. I requested his resignation, and I do again tonight, and we've done it as a board. It's time to move forward and let this community move forward and heal, and I'll support whoever comes in when I'm off this board. I have no desire to run again or be appointed or any of that position. Somebody says, well, maybe you're doing this so you can, no. You will not see me on this board. Not cause, I ran. I got defeated. Mr. Ron Jan beat me. No hard feeling. There was not a dirty campaign. I did not go after him. He did not go after me. Ron has been our zoning inspector for a year. Before that, he was our liaison for the fire department build out. Ron was a prior trustee. Ron did a good job. Ron will do a good job. I have no ill feelings towards Ron Jan at all. I did not come forward and say, hey, I want you to resign thinking that I would be on this board. I know my days on this board are over. But also know I'm not going to sit here and have somebody attack my family or attack this community. Period. I want the betterment of this community.
Thank you, John.
And I think I said that.
Thank you very much.
I would like to make a statement, even though the attorneys tell me this is my statement. I would like to clarify it a little bit. First off, when I said I agree 100%, was Mr. Jarrett, he's not a captain, he's a lieutenant, came up here with a contract and pointed, and he said, what? Juneteenth. And he said what he said, and I was the one that said, whoa, you don't say that. You don't say that at all. And I never once agreed with him. I have no racist bone in my body. At all. Is it the first time I heard Mr. Fannin say it? Absolutely not. I've schooled him for 2 years. I said, you know what? Great family, great guy. I won't mention your wife's name. Family, seems great. I show a bunch of love on social media for everybody because I'm about love. And I'm about just loving the common person. I don't care what color you are. I don't care who you're in bed with. But I'll be damned if I'm going to sit here, and I don't mean to sound like a past trustee and not him, and be a jerk, but I will not be called or asked to resign because I believe I represent everyone, and that means all people. And I begged for 6 years to put a video in here. Let's record the meetings. Oh no, we can't do that. They show up at the candidate meeting, meet the candidate. All of a sudden, oh yeah, this is good. You know, Nancy, everyone knows Nancy. She's like, oh, we should have, and she's browbeating me. And I said, I'm not running. I'm in the middle of my second term. And, well, why don't you have video? I said, I'm one vote. It takes two. And for years, they're like, and I understand that. And the laughter, let me clarify the laughter. I had a nervous laugh before I became a trustee. Then I have to go back there and I meet families here, okay, in my office. I sell them graves. I have to bury their loved ones, okay? And then a month later, they come in to build a house. And I said, oh, okay, I'm over zoning. So the zoning inspector, I meet them at their happiest time and their saddest time. And it's time for our community to understand that Bart Fannin should resign. I didn't say it loud enough before because, like I said, I'm a landlord and I look at things as I was blindsided. I about fell out of my chair when John said, and you know what? I knew what he said. And you want to know the truth? I don't tell many people this, but in the martial arts, I want to drag them out in the parking lot. And that's exactly why people are making jokes. Oh, you're Mr. Whoa. No. Just call me Mr. Love, because I love everybody. And I know a lot of you people don't know me, but and the laughter, nobody can see it because there's no video. The laughter was Mr. Fannin with his hand doing this. Oh, rewind the tape. And he said, Terry, can we do that? And he's mimicking the words. And then all of a sudden I looked at him like this. And he said, hey, you better rewind that tape a little bit. Well, that is called a cover-up. Yes. And that's what I said, and I listened to it, and I bawled my eyes out. Because I hired my own private legal counsel. My butt's not getting sued for this craziness. Craziness of him. Let me clarify that. Craziness of him. But I will go to the end of the earth and represent every single person. I'm begging, absolutely begging Bart Fannin to resign. Because our community needs to heal. It really does. It really does. And the laughter was because he was doing the hand, and I was saying, ho, ho, ho. I wasn't me laughing. Maybe it was. I'm nervous laugh, and I thought, dude, I've told you about 30 times, don't use that word. Take it out of your vocabulary, because you know what, one day, you're going to absolutely say that word on record.
And this is what happened.
Anymore. I mean, and in the woodpile. Anyone ever hear that? I never heard that before 2 years ago. I'm like, oh my God. Say the word, not just the end. It's absolutely appalling.
You know what I mean, don't you? You wanted to say it.
I am making a motion.
You know what I mean, don't you? And then you fired off.
100%.
It was burning in your soul to say it. I mean, you know what I mean. Well, I didn't know that was hard. You know what I mean, don't you? It's a...
And by gosh, if y'all want to go back on other tapes, audio, he said the N-word in that other video, that same day meeting, clarified, special meetings aren't recorded. Every single thing Mr. Maynard here said is the God's truth.
Yep.
I got home and I told my husband, and he said, oh my God, you gotta be, you, someone can't be that ignorant. I said, Aaron, I'm sorry. And he said, is it really worth being a trustee and being around that racism? I said, if I have to stand up for anyone that's minority, that's exactly what I'm going to do. And that's why I'm still sitting here, and I won't resign. I represent everybody. Absolutely. I do want to make a motion. I'm not even going to talk to the legal back there. I have a floor. I know, real quick. 2-3 months ago, Clemson Nelson, look that up. We have a HR contract every year. I was the only one on the record that said, ho, 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 yes. Put on the record, yes, renew their contract. We don't need an HR group until we need them. And by golly, here we are tonight. I was the only trustee to vote. Yes. Now, could we have hindsight a couple months ago what this is? I'm ready to get a tattoo that says always HR group, because they would facilitate, and they probably would have told Bart to resign last week. But no HR group. And then people blame me, oh, you didn't talk loud enough or quick enough. By golly, I was in bed, bawling my eyes out, because I'm like, this is 2023. How in the heck is this even happening? By golly, I've said too much, but I can speak from my heart. And that's who I am. And I will be making a motion, and I will tell you this motion. As of I am sitting here today, I want a video in this room. I want it videoed. Because I have in my heart that he's not going to resign. We can't make him resign. We can do a petition. The lawyer already said, well, you know, maybe we'll get 15% of the petition. I think I can get 55% of you people to sign a petition. And I'll start the petition myself tonight. But he even said the judge was going to look at it. And they're not going to do anything. You know, we have free counsel for the county. Called them. He'll apologize. It'll all blow over. Talk to them every day. And I said, it's not blowing over.
No, it's not.
You're not going to push this under the rug. You're telling every single minority in our township, the most populous township,
In the county.
absolutely, that it's going to blow over. And I said, and I will quote, something in hand grenades. Horse shit and hand grenades. Don't know if that's offensive, but that's exactly what I told them down there, and that's what we got Pete.
Are questions allowed?
Why? He is from Franklin County. Okay? I come from Franklin County. I grew up on a farm. And I'll tell you right now, I'll tell all of y'all, you want to see a good work ethic, it's Bart Fannin. You want to see a racist, it's Bart Fannin. But that, by golly, I'll be out there at 3 in the morning plowing roads. I'll call him, answer the phone. Where are you at, Ralph? I'm coming to get you. You know, around Christmas time, I'm plowing the roads. They're all stuck, all 3 of them, on one road. And I'm like, how about the Kenworth? You know, and they degraded me when I went to meet the candidates 6 years ago. They said, oh, well, you have to have a CDL license. And I'm like, well, what is this? Is that a CVS license? No, it's a CDL-A license. Oh, well, he's gay. I've heard that from too many people. He's gay. He's choosing that lifestyle. And you know what I told him? That's not recording the meeting, which I will also be making a motion that all meetings are recorded, even special meetings. Because I'm not going to serve on a board and be thrown under the bus saying, well, you said 100% agree. We had a video, we would have showed you. I immensely apologize to the fire department. I mean, poor Jared, the look on his face was like, no, absolutely way, or is this man one of my managers? It was disgusting. So in closing, I will also be making a motion that we hire an HR group, like yesterday, but I do believe we can do the petition. I don't know if it's going to be a waste of time, because every law office and firm that I have talked to, I paid 2 of them, out of my own money, not out of the citizens' money, and they both said, good luck. You can't do that because they have to show malfeasance and all these big words I don't know. And I'm like, he's desecrated the community. If that doesn't count for anything, what does?
So we get more tapes.
So we are going to make sure all meetings are recorded and videoed. And I'm going to make that motion here shortly, guys, because I believe in transparency. Absolutely. So the steps moving forward for the future of our township is to represent everybody, not a marginalized area of people. Everybody, all people. And that's all I have to say. Thank you very much, and I know we have a few more comments, and I am done.
I'll say one thing. You asked about, I totally agree, and I said that as Ralph's voice. I will also say, he did not say that as far as in context, that needs to be removed. Ralph was well aware that that is already in the contract.
Absolutely.
He was not asking for it to be removed.
Got it.
So let's make that clear.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you for clarifying.
Number
Thank you.
two.
Thank you.
Number 2, the nervous, laughing, giggling, chuckling, whatever's heard that tape. Okay? That was one of the most uncomfortable moments that you could have. And if people react in that way, I cannot judge them. Myself personally, I'm not going to say that was intentional making fun of or light of. I will not say that. Yeah. I can say that yes, it happened. Yeah. I know that I did not say that. I did not chuckle. But I will not sit and judge who did and what their response or how that response come about. That's not for me to do. And I don't, and I will say, Ralph, you just heard him support everything that I said about that special meeting. Now, I don't know, when he said that you referred to somebody and they say blow it over and it might pass, I don't know, is that our council?
It's not Pete.
Okay, but it's the township's council.
Well, Free Township Council.
The Free Township. Would that be the prosecutor's office?
That's exactly, they said, it should blow over. And, honestly, I thought, okay, and then it created itself, and I said, whoa, it's not blowing over. I called him every day and said, it ain't blowing over. Oh, it's Ralph Wolf again. Yeah, it ain't blowing over, because it's not. And the laughter was not anything at all to do with that term whatsoever. No, I did not hear John Maynard laughing at all. Like I said, I laughed. I'm not sure, and I can't speak for anyone else, but I know I laughed, and why I laughed? Because Fannin's doing this, like, rewind the tape. If we had a video, you would have saw it. That's why. Absolutely, that's why. I was floored. I looked at Mr. Maynard, And he looked like someone just smacked him upside the head. I mean, he couldn't talk or nothing. He was like, he was stunned. And then Bart's doing this. Rewind. And I laughed and I said, no. Because you don't stop and rewind a tape. It's a public record. We have a question.
I do have, may I?
Yes, Jody.
In the spirit of healing, I mean, thank you
Absolutely.
for sharing.
Thank
But
you.
in the spirit of healing, somebody mentioned sensitivity classes.
I want to actually make a motion, I have it written down here, to offer it also to the community and also for children if they want to come, because I've heard too many stories about that school system that we have. It, to me, breaks my heart.
Well,
I want to offer to the community members and their children also. We have a community house room at
and
that
you
new
and
firehouse.
Ralph, you and I talked about that.
Absolutely,
and
yes,
I
100%.
told you at that time that I would love my daughter to come alongside of me and to sit with the community in a sensitivity training. I don't think it's just our leaders that need it. I think it's a good reminder for everyone, but I want to ask that you guys consider that we, the people of this community, have a voice in what that looks like. What is sensitivity training? Is there going to be a planning committee? Is there going to be?
There will be a planning committee, absolutely there will be.
I
I
don't
want
want to
feedback
see
from the
this-
community.
I'm really bad with broken thoughts, so if I could just finish my thought.
Go right ahead.
I mean, I appreciate it's a good first step to say that we're gonna do sensitivity training. And in all the years I've known you, you've never told me something and not followed through. I'm not questioning
Absolutely.
that.
No, absolutely.
I'm asking that when you guys vote on this, propose this, or whatever, that it's not something that we rush. That it's taken into consideration, careful consideration, with feedback of this community of who are some speakers that could come, who are some educators that we would recommend, who are some, it can't just be another cookie cutter policy procedure that we're checking a box and everybody's gonna have this training where we watch a video and we choose whether or not we're sleeping. We need to have some accountability in this community.
And
Conversation.
Absolutely.
Education. I just challenge you that it's not just a sensitivity training.
Correct.
That it's a culture of sensitivity that from this point on
needs to be had.
yes. So that I beg of you to consider
Our
that.
community needs to start the healing process, and I believe with Bart's resignation, that can start. And, you know, I was told, real quick, ma'am, I was told by legal, too many legal, you don't have to have anyone in this meeting. Why do you want to have people in the meeting? I was yanked every which way saying, don't have anyone talk, don't have. I said, absolutely not. I want to hear from everyone. I went outside and I said, you want to speak? I want to hear you tonight. I want to hear the public. I want to hear the outcry. Absolutely. And you had a question, ma'am?
Yes, I just
Sorry.
have one question. Does anybody on the board have any insight as to why Bart Fannin is not resigning for the betterment of the community? Is it financial? Is it any insight at all as to why he's refusing to sign?
himself.
I've had several conversations with him, and I honestly believe he wanted to come and say a statement and maybe start the healing process for himself. And every time I said, you know, you should resign, Bart, because that's not fair. It's not fair to the community, what you've done and what damage you have done. And he would try to justify, and then he would say, well, I'm going to say I'm sorry. Well, that's not enough. You did the damage. And like I said earlier, John's a white guy, and he doesn't know. He knows, okay, but he doesn't know to be someone of color and to hear that word. And I don't know either. But it's sickening and disgusting to have that word in 2023. You had a question, ma'am?
You asked me, you asked
Go
if
ahead, I'm
I
sorry.
have any insight of why he
If
would not.
anybody or
I
Bart
do
is
not.
welcome to answer himself, if there's any insight as to why you won't resign.
You first, and then we'll get your
My
question.
question is more for the attorney. Is this an issue that can go before the Ohio Ethics Commission?
No.
Why is that?
It's just the way it's set up in the laws.
Yeah, it's just, it's.
We have to
it's
go
not
through the
an ethical-
local court.
petition and get the
It's not an ethical statute.
There's no way around it.
Good question, but
Could the Ohio Ethics Commission comment on this
No.
situation?
they would not comment on this situation.
They would not?
Typically, the Ethics Commission, it's a matter of, a property interest or a financial interest. That's the type of things that they go through.
Okay, we have a personal relationship with somebody on the
The
board,
chair.
the chair of the Ohio
Sure.
Ethics Commission, so we'll take that up with him.
Sure.
We had another question back here.
So, to not speak in the third person, Mr. Fannin, I've asked, another speaker asked, and now the question, yet again, is rising. So I'm gonna call the question directly to you. Can you explain to us, the individuals hurt by your actions, what your reasoning on not stepping down and resigning are?
Ridiculous.
Just telling the truth, Bart.
I mean, clearly you have no intention of changing your behavior because you've lied about not using the word in the past, and multiple people can say that you've used that word in the past. It's associated with you by many people. So the fact that you're not willing to be transparent, I don't want you in this office. I don't want it. No one does anymore. So I think that you should just resign. Because an apology does not come with denial. An apology comes with changed behavior, and those two go together, and you're not going to change your behavior, clearly, by the way that you're staring at women and trying to intimidate them. We're not intimidated. You got the wrong people to try to intimidate. We're not intimidated. I don't care if you're bigger than me, I don't care.
Facts. Not intimidated at all.
Look right through me, buddy, I'm not your wife. So, I don't believe that you're gonna change, and so I guess we'll just do it the other way, but you should resign out of respect for everyone here.
Because we will not stop.
It's not gonna stop.
Yeah.
And you're shaking your head, refusing to make eye contact. You've sat there dismissive the entire night, not listening, not engaged. It's obvious you do not care how hurt this community is. You don't care.
No.
You don't care enough to step down. You have been nothing but disrespectful to every speaker in here. I've watched you. Your apology has meant nothing as representative of your actions the entire night. And after hearing the pleading and the crying of the hurt that you have caused, the hurt that you have incited in this community, to still sit there smug, it's disgraceful. And this is not going to go away.
Nope.
Did you have something else, ma'am?
Yes,
Put your hand
actually,
up.
I would like to speak to the community. I implore every person of color in this room to run for trustee office. I would love if the ballot was nothing but people of color. And that way you would have a seat up there, your voice would be heard, your talents, however unique they are, your lived reality
Is up there.
is up there and represented. So I would love it, and I will help anybody campaign that I can that would want to run for that office. Crystal, I'm looking at you, sister.
Yes, ma'am.
We had a question back here. Oh, okay, absolutely.
Nothing would be more apropos than for the entire slate to be people of color.
Okay, Barton, Fannin, do you have any statement you want to make?
No further comment.
Of course.
Mr. Maynard, Mr. Wolf, thank you for clarifying.
Yes.
If I offended you, I'm sorry.
You did not offend me. I'm glad you asked, because I thought,
Mr.
videos,
Wolf, I love you to death.
I love
We
you
get
too,
close
absolutely.
to the
I'm not
homeless,
offended, I just
and
absolutely.
Mr. Maynard, I didn't know you.
They're displaced people, but I understand.
My apologies if I offended either one of you, but I felt that we needed some clarity.
Absolutely, this is why we're here. I wanted to hear from everybody, and I'm glad I was able to clarify on the record the laughter and also I agree 100%, as if the holiday needs to be in there, it's a federal holiday. If that is, we're gonna take a 10-minute recess.